I'd like to call to order the Dauphin County Board of Commissioners legislative meeting for Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. We'll begin with a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
We'll begin with public participation on agenda items only. Just a reminder, we have a 3-minute time cap for those participating publicly and giving comment to the Board of Commissioners, and you'll need to state your name prior to participating, and we are being live streamed. This is for agenda items before us today only. Anyone for public comment? Seeing none, we'll move to the approval of minutes. We have the minutes from the November 12th and November 19th meeting before us. Do I have a motion for the approval of minutes?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hartwick. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Seconded by Commissioner Priest. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Executive sessions held between meetings. Mr. Haggard.
On Tuesday, December 2nd, an executive session was held to obtain the advice of legal counsel regarding personnel matters, county finances, and active or pending litigation.
Any questions of Mr. Haggerty? Hearing none, we have no directors and guests with us today. Salary Board, Cassie Rashinsky.
Morning, Cassie.
Morning.
There's no salary board packet this week, just the personnel packet and the holiday schedule and pay schedule for 2026 are ready for your approval. This morning I heard from the prison, number 8 declined the offer as well, so that's going to be removed.
What was that, number 8?
Yep.
Thank you.
Seeing the personnel packet before us today, I'm going to request the tabling of item number 12. I have concerns as it relates to our nepotism policy, and I believe it needs to be further looked into. I'll make a motion for the tabling of item number 12 for further review. Do I have a second? Okay. Obviously, we have items before us. Do I have a motion for the personnel packet? I guess as is.
So moved.
Minus number 8, just to be clear.
Yep, minus number 8.
Is there a second? So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Myself, I'm opposed. Any other questions of Cassie? Or did you say we needed to approve another item as well?
We have the payday schedule and holiday schedule for 2026, but I don't know if that needs a separate vote.
Does that need approval, or is that just accepted by the commissioners? We'll just accept it for, we'll accept it now, and if it needs to be approved in a later meeting, we'll approve it in a future meeting. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
I think it was approved as a part of the motion.
Part of the packet? Okay. Thank you.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I have no changes to the investment report or the purchase order packet. That's ready for your approval.
Do I have a motion for the purchase order packet?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hartwick. Do I have a second? I'll second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Chief Clerk's report.
Good morning, Commissioners. There are several items requiring board action on the agenda for your consideration today. We have one risk management agreement, a renewal of our veteran volunteer insurance policy, an amendment to a Parks and Recreation lease agreement, which reduces the acreage of an existing lease to account for unused space, a cooperation agreement relating to a $1.5 million state RACP grant awarded to Evergreen Brewing, one tax stipulation, an ordinance for an increase to real estate tax certification fees and duplicate bill fees in the treasurer's office, which are paid by mortgage companies and brokerages when performing due diligence for real estate transactions or when paying real estate taxes on behalf of homeowners, an addendum to an agreement for auditing software in the controller's office, adoption of a public safety records and retention policy, 7 Parks and Recreation presenter agreements, an agreement between our Departments of Human Services and Drug and Alcohol programs to utilize leftover opioid remediation grant program funds, and 1 custodianship agreement. There is one error on our agenda as published, which is that a letter of engagement between Dauphin County and McMain Linehauser for legal services, which had previously been tabled, should still appear under former business, but was inadvertently not included. I apologize for my oversight on that. Lastly, I do want to provide an update on the county's hiring freeze. Now that state and federal human service funds are once again flowing following the conclusion of the state budget impasse and federal government shutdown, the board is authorizing us to begin filling those human service related vacancies, which are almost entirely paid for with these state and federal funds. The hiring freeze policy otherwise remains in effect still, and I will be distributing a revised memo to department heads later today. That concludes my report, unless there are any questions.
Any questions of Mr. Haggerty? Hearing none. Solicitor's report, Mr. Owens.
Thank you, Commissioner. All matters requiring board action have been reviewed and approved by the Solicitor's Office.
Great. Any questions of Mr. Owens?
Yeah, just if you could, when we move to the tabling, to remove the particular issue from the table. Geez, that's what time it is. Could you please sort of reiterate and repeat what the actual motion, since it's not listed verbatim as it was as read in our previous agenda?
Yes, you want me to do that at the time?
At the time that we do that, I just want to make sure it's read in its entirety.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Great. Moving to matters requiring board action, we have before us 19 different matters. I would like to request the tabling of item number 9. My request for tabling is that under Act 22, Pennsylvania law enforcement agencies must retain audio and video recordings for 60 days. The records retention policy here has 30 days. My only concern is what happens when the intersection of law enforcement and county business intersect. Do we keep those records for 60 days? And do we have a mechanism within this to ensure that we're compliant with Act 22? So I would like there to be more time for legal to review that, unless Mr. Owens feels confident that it has been reviewed and we're good at 30 days.
So the policy as it stands is acceptable, but you certainly raise an issue. Again, you have to understand there's so many permutations of what could happen in any fact pattern with video and records retention. So I have approved the policy as it stands, but you raise a fair point. Again, this is a policy for our own employees under public safety. And so you would have to refine this if you want to address law enforcement. I don't know that it particularly applies in this circumstance. So if you would like more work on it, that's fine. It's okay if you table.
Okay. I think given that some of the reason for this policy had law enforcement, not that that's the sole reason, but part of what we've worked through is particular scenarios. I'm just a little concerned that the policy itself might conflict with Act 22. So I'm going to make a motion to table item number 9. Is there a second?
Okay. Could we have a point of discussion prior to seconding this, or would it be required to second prior to having discussion?
Second, and then
I'll second it for point of discussion. My question would be, I know we've had this on the agenda for 2 weeks. This is the first I've heard about it today in a public meeting. Why were these issues not addressed with the solicitor prior to a public meeting today?
I don't think it's been on the agenda for 2 weeks. It wasn't on the agenda last week, was it?
Well, it was on the agenda. I know it was on the list of what was potentially on the agenda, and I know we had an executive session yesterday, and we could have attempted to try to resolve look, I don't disagree. I think if there are issues that don't provide compliance to the law and there are concerns, we should not pass something. But I also think that there's plenty of time for us to be able to address those kind of concerns.
I'll concede. I was on vacation, and given the typically I would have been more timely with this. I bring things to Matt's attention regularly if I feel like I have a question about something, but in this particular case, I didn't. It didn't get on my radar until late, and so for that purpose is the reason it's being brought to the table now. It's not something that was intentionally overlooked. It's something that
I would always want us to make sure we're being thorough in our review and ensuring that we're meeting the compliance and the letter of the law related to those policies. Is there any, I mean, what are your concerns, Matt, with the issues that are raised since we're discussing this in public?
So again, I approved this as it stands. My recommendation would be to vote on it and approve it, and we can always refine it. We can refine it in a week, a month, 6 months, a year.
And I can share a little bit of background around how we arrived at this. So we learned that although there had been a sort of standard practice to retain records for 30 days, we did not actually have a written policy in place beforehand. So we attempted to mirror what is often found at the state level. So to be clear, we're not talking about law enforcement. We're talking about, for example, cameras in our buildings, which may or may not include footage that law enforcement appear in, of course, but this would not apply to body cameras or things like that worn by law enforcement, but are instead how long we ourselves in our public safety department should retain video footage, should retain badge swipe data, other electronic records. So this is an attempt to codify in policy what had sort of been the practice but had not been written anywhere, so that we can ensure that we have the tools to hold people accountable to actually follow the policy, because there are, without something being formally adopted, it's difficult to actually enforce its implementation.
So my next question would be, obviously the recommendation of the solicitors to move forward and then make adjustments to it to be able to ensure that we are addressing those concerns that are, if necessary, if they are raised.
Correct.
Otherwise, we'll be spending another week without a formal policy, rather than having at least something that covers until you were able to address those concerns.
Agreed.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion to table, a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, on the motion to table item number 9, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
Motion does not pass. I will ask that we take up item 9 separately, but items 1 through 8, 10 through 19, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hartwick for items 1 through 8 and 10 through 19. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Hartwick, seconded by Commissioner Priest. Any discussion?
Yes,
No.
can we get a more detailed definition of item number 1 and what that pertains to? I know I see a member of the public here today that's asked about these types of contracts before. Can we get a little more information? Thank you. Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Dr. Andrew Wollinen is our psychiatric doctor. He does our fitness for duty exams. He does our prison and sheriff psychological exams before they get hired, just to make sure that everything's good. Given the new system with Oracle, we were required to get a contract, which was not previously done. So here we are.
Thank you.
Just one follow-up since you're here. First of all, I hope you're doing well. It's good to see you. Obviously, there's a range between 200 and 500 listed on the agenda. I would assume that those are for different levels of service related to the reimbursement,
Correct.
and they're all spelled out in the agreement.
Correct. Yeah. So on the lower end, the psych exams are usually around the 200 mark. Fitness for duties or any other kind of high intense evaluations are usually on the 500 mark.
Understood. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And just to additionally clarify these rates are not increasing. These are just codifying what had been the existing rates previously so that we have an actual contract to that effect.
Anything else? Good.
Anything else? All right, we have a motion. We have a motion and a second for items 1 through 8 and 10 through 19. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. For item 9, is there a motion?
I'll make it
Moved.
second.
Moved by Commissioner Priest, seconded by Commissioner Hartwick. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I oppose. Motion carries. Move on to former business. If the solicitor could provide the item that is not before us on the packet, but was in previous packets.
Sure, as written. Letter of engagement between Dauphin County and McMain Linehauser for legal services, $100 to $250 per hour.
I will make a motion at this point to deny that, or no, to move this off the table.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to bring former business off the table for action.
And I will now vote to deny the request.
Make a motion to deny the request.
I make a motion to deny the request.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Hartwick, seconded by Commissioner Priest. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No new business before us. Commissioners' discussion and actions. Commissioner Hartwick.
Just want to say thank you to the many volunteers that we have here in Dauphin County. I had the great honor to be able to serve the men at the Bethesda Mission on Thanksgiving. And last night I attended a tree lighting ceremony with the court-appointed special advocates. Both sort of really remind me that as situations get worse, we have an opportunity to get even better. And as our community is challenged, the ability to step up, whether somebody is struggling with substance abuse, somebody's going through some personal challenges, financial challenges, or we're out here feeding a warm meal and offering the opportunity to provide support to those who are donated. It's an opportunity really for folks during times of difficulty to be able to step up and make a difference for families. And I think I learn more at those opportunities than I ever think that I give away, and the ability to be able to genuinely know that you've shared some time, experience, and also are trying to model what you expect from our kids and the contributions in the world. The world seems out of order these days in many ways by what we see on social media, by what we're constantly fed by negative stories. I know that there's much more good out there than bad. And I think this community responds in a way that I'm extraordinarily proud to be involved with. And I just want to thank those volunteers that help seniors, that help our children, that are there for, last night, the court-appointed special advocates. They donate their time to be able to make sure a child has an advocate in court, that they're not there a child's not there based upon their own willingness or wantingness to be a dependent child, but they don't have a steady presence. They don't have permanency. And these folks step up to give time of their life to be able to be that stable force, even if it's only in court. And many of these individuals have personal relationships far beyond that with these children. So to make a difference doesn't mean that you need to have a formal role. There are plenty of opportunities, and I said, just as a segue, Dauphin County this week, we are going to be closing our applications for those who want to serve on boards and commissions. That's another way for individuals that, if they want to get engaged and involved, to be able to make a significant difference in a formal way from the county's perspective, we are encouraging citizens to participate. So I want to thank the men who allowed me to serve them on Thanksgiving. I want to thank the volunteers who I was with last night and the many volunteers in this county that are doing a whole lot of work when no one else is looking, not because they're in the paper, because they want to make a significant difference in this community. Thank you.
Commissioner Priest.
Yes, very appropriate comments, Commissioner Hartwick. I want to hope that everybody had a blessed Thanksgiving with family and loved ones, and also want to give a special shout out to our newly appointed gaming board members and the Department of Community and Economic Development for the work that they are doing. They started reviewing applications. So far, they've reviewed 200 applications for gaming. So I want to thank them for the work that they are doing. And again, it's post-Thanksgiving, but another shout-out to Controller Bateman for organizing elected officials from both parties participated in the event at a church in the last week and a half, helping those individuals who are underprivileged for food. And it was great to distribute, and seeing the smiles on their faces was very worthwhile. So, Controller Bateman, thank you again for participating and organizing that. Thank you.
I just want to speak to our nepotism policy in the county. I've reviewed the nepotism policy in 2023. It was amended to include the ability for individuals to hire their own children. Look, I'm extremely concerned about our current nepotism policy, that it allows elected officials to hire their own children, regardless of who the individual is. It's the kind of loophole that undermines public trust. It weakens internal accountability, and it creates the appearance of impropriety in county government, which I just don't believe we can afford. And I, for one, believe we need to revisit and strengthen our nepotism policy. And that's the comments I have for today. Moving.
And I'll publicly support you in that effort. I will publicly support you in that effort. That it's something that I believe should be strengthened, and you will have my support to do so.
You voted to implement the previous policy.
Again, we are moving forward. When any issue arises, I check where our current policy is, and based upon that, we cannot open ourselves up to liability where the current policy is. But as we move forward, again, I want to ensure that there is no level of nepotism that exists at any level of county government, and I vow to join you in reviewing that policy and ensuring that those issues, if they are concerned, are addressed.
We had an item before us today that could have been tabled, and we could have changed our policy. Moving forward, there's no correspondence, public participation. Anyone for public participation? Oh, we have a list. Okay. 3 minute. 3 minutes for public participation. We're being live streamed, and you need to state your name prior to speaking. Antonio Foster, and then we'll open it to the floor. Antonio, welcome.
How y'all doing?
How are you?
Antonio Foster, 594 Chambers Street. I ain't here to talk about the fentanyl bodies that I do have the proof of. I ain't here to talk about that today. I posted on this page a voice message from Social Security Disability on Dauphin County Commissioner's page. The voice message is there, so, I don't know if it was taken down or whatever, but if you guys need to hear it again, that's okay. Now, it states that there is no medical records of me and Hershey Medical Center at all. This is what it states. Now, at Hershey Medical Center, I've had knee surgery. I had a metal plate put in my jaw. On top of that, I was stabbed and I was in a hospital. These are all different situations. I was stabbed, I was in a hospital for 4 months. So for them to have no records of me after being there for 4 months, what I think it is the cleanup, because I was also poisoned. But I'm not going to get into that right now. That should all be in the records at Hershey Medical Center. I ain't going to get into that right now. Also, the Treasury Department. I had a check that I had sent. Never got the check. Something said, what's going on? Call the Treasury Department, check. They have no record of my name, period. Like nothing existed. So who has the power to be doing this now? After I came down here, talked about the fentanyl bodies, my house was broken into last month. It was broken into. I called the SWAT Air Police. At the time of my house being broken into, my landlord, Jared Lee Spencer, which works down here, he was incarcerated for aggravated assault on a police officer and also simple assault. I told the cops it shouldn't be hard to find him to get the camera, right? Because he's in Dauphin County. And he was also on Dauphin County probation while this happens, which would be a detainer. So, after me contacting the police, everything going accordingly. I keep calling them back. I couldn't get no answer. So finally, after 30 days, so first of all, let me tell you, Jared is home. You know what I mean? He's home. I have nothing against that. Actually, it's not like I'm against that. Why would I be? My issue is that The camera hasn't been gotten. Now, me talking to Jared Spencer when he came home, I told him, have the cops contacted you about the camera? He said no. Now, later on, I texted him again. He sent me a text back and said, you know, if they contact me, I ain't answering it anyway. I do have that text. So it's been 30 days. The sergeant from Swatter Police calls me and tells me, hey, yo, Jared Spencer said there's nothing on the camera. That ain't the way investigation works. So you get a warrant, you can go get the company and get the camera. So we're going by what he says his word after he was released like that. But who has the power to release somebody on why they were incarcerated for aggravated assault on a police officer on Dauphin County probation? Who has that power? That's what I would want to know. But that's for y'all to figure out. Y'all have a good one. I'll be back next Wednesday.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. Anyone else for public comment?
Good morning, Commissioners. Pamela Parson, City of Harrisburg. Since we were doing some thank yous today, which I appreciated hearing, I'd like to thank my colleagues Terrence Webb and Lamont Jones on the Citizens Advisory Committee at DCP because they were at the jail on Thanksgiving Day helping to serve meals. I'd also I spent my Thanksgiving Day in Upper Dauphin County in Lycans. I saw Controller Bateman there. And just a reminder for all of us that Dauphin County doesn't end at Fort Hunter, that there's a big portion of the county north of Fort Hunter. And I've been going up there for a couple of years on Thanksgiving, and I always like to talk with people that I sit at the table with and some of the volunteers there. And one of the volunteers that I talked with was a former teacher and in one of the school districts in Upper Dauphin County. And we were talking about things, and she said, thank you for seeing us. I noticed that you've come before, and I just want to say thank you for seeing us. So it is important, I think, for you as commissioners to remember that the county is more than Hershey, Middletown, and Harrisburg, and that poverty exists above Fort Hunter. It's not as visible, but it is very real there. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. Thank you for your service to the county. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hartwick. Do I have a second? I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.